Break up then, do you think I don't dare to say it? Mark slammed his chopsticks on the table. I looked at him. It's always like this every time, when have you really left? He sneered. The air conditioner in the living room hummed. Outside the window were thousands of lights from homes. I lowered my head, looking at the rice in the bowl. It had been 3 years. This was the 7th time he said break up. Okay. I put down my chopsticks and stood up. Mark was stunned for a moment. I didn't look at him. I walked into the bedroom and opened the wardrobe. My phone vibrated in my pocket. It was a message from Lily. What's wrong? Why suddenly ask if I have an empty room? I didn't reply. Opening the wardrobe, I looked at the clothes inside. The left side was mine, the right side was Mark's. After 2 years of cohabitation, my clothes only occupied 1/3. What are you doing? Mark's voice came from behind. I didn't turn back. Packing things. Packing what things? I pulled open the bottom drawer. Inside were my documents, bank cards, and some important files. Are you moving out? Mark laughed, playing this trick again? I didn't speak. 3 years ago, we met at the company annual meeting. He was in a suit and leather shoes, eloquent, and took the initiative to ask for my contact information. 3 months later, he said break up for the first time. That day we argued over a small matter. He said, if you're like this, we'll break up. I cried all night, and the next day went to work with red eyes. After work, he waited for me at the company entrance, holding a bouquet of flowers. I was just saying it in anger. He said. I forgave him. The second time was 8 months into the relationship. We argued about whether to meet the parents. If you don't want to meet, forget it, break up. This time I cried and called him more than a dozen times before he picked up. I was just too angry. He said. I forgave him again. The 3rd time, 4th time, 5th time, 6th time. Each time, I thought it was the last. Each time, he would say, I was just saying it in anger. Each time, I chose to forgive. Nina. Mark's voice pulled me back to reality. What exactly do you want? I stood up and turned around. He leaned against the door frame, arms crossed, with a face full of impatience. I said break up then, do you have to make a fuss? I looked at him. This man, I had loved for 3 years. After 2 years of cohabitation, I paid $2,500 in rent each month, he paid $2,000. His salary was $3,000 higher than mine. I cleaned twice a week, he never lifted a finger. My savings went from $220,000 3 years ago to $180,000 now. His savings? I don't know. He never let me see his account. Did you hear me? Mark walked over and stood in front of me. I said break up then, you do this every time, is it fun? I looked into his eyes. Very bright, very dark, with a bit of arrogance, and a bit of certainty. He was certain I wouldn't leave. Because I had never left before. Okay. I picked up the documents from the drawer and turned toward the door. What are you doing? He followed, Nina. I opened the door. Are you really leaving? His voice had a trace of panic. I didn't turn back. You said break up, I'm fulfilling it for you. The door closed behind me. The hallway was very quiet. I stood at the elevator entrance and pressed the button. The phone vibrated again. It was Mark's message, stop messing around, come back to eat. I didn't reply. Another one, the food is getting cold. I set the phone to silent and put it in my pocket. The elevator door opened, I walked in and pressed the first floor. The elevator descended slowly. I watched the numbers jump from 18 to 17, then to 16. 3 years. It took me 3 years to step into this elevator. I don't regret it. I just regret not coming out earlier. Lily's car was waiting at the community entrance. Get in. She pushed open the passenger door. I sat in, she glanced at me, really broke up? Yes. This time for real? I looked out the window. The street lamps receded one by one, like a countdown. He said break up 7 times. I said, the first time, I cried all night. The second time, I called him more than a dozen times begging. The third, fourth, fifth. I paused. The 7th time, I said okay. Lily didn't speak, just drove a bit faster. Her house was in the west of the city, 1 bedroom 1 living room, 50 square meters. She lived alone. Stay with me first. She handed me the keys, stay as long as you want. Thank you. She looked at me, does your mom know? Not yet. When do you plan to tell her? After I move all my things. Things? Lily frowned, you're going back to get things? My clothes, books, some personal items. I said, and the tea set my mom gave me. He won't let you take them. I don't need his permission. Lily glanced at me and said no more. That night, I lay on the sofa in Lily's house, looking at the ceiling. The phone already had 47 missed calls, all from Mark. And 23 Facebook messages. Where are you? Stop messing around, come back. Nina, are you sick? I just said break up, do you have to? What do you want? Fine, don't come back, I'll find someone else. Don't you love me anymore? Reply. I read them one by one, then exited Facebook, opened the contacts. Found Mark, clicked in. My finger hovered over delete for 3 seconds. 3 years. 1,095 days. I took a deep breath and clicked it. Are you sure to delete contact Mark? After deletion, the other party will be removed from your contacts. Confirm. I opened Facebook again, found his avatar. Blocked. Then his phone number. Blocked. Moments. Set to not let him see, and not see him. After doing all this, I put the phone on the coffee table. The room was very quiet. Outside the window, the sound of cars passing, far away. I lay on the sofa, looking at the ceiling. No tears. Strange, I thought I would cry. 3 years of relationship, ended just like that. I thought I would be so sad I couldn't sleep, regret, miss him. But no. I just felt light. Like a burden carried for a long time, finally put down. The next morning, I took half a day off. Lily accompanied me to Mark's house to get things. Are you sure he's not there? Lily asked. He's at work. I said, every day 9 a.m. to the company, 6 p.m. off. Unwavering. What if he took leave? He won't take leave for me. When I said this, my tone was flat. Lily glanced at me and said nothing. We arrived at 10 a.m. I used the key to open the door, no one in the house. The living room was still as yesterday. Dishes not cleared, TV on, a can of beer on the coffee table, empty. I didn't look more, directly walked into the bedroom. Lily followed behind me. What do you want to take? Clothes, books, tea set, and some files. I opened the wardrobe, took out my clothes one by one, folded them, put into the suitcase. Not many, about 20 or so. 2 years of cohabitation, I hadn't bought too many things. Always felt this wasn't my home. This? Lily pointed to the photo frame on the bedside table. Inside was a photo of me and Mark, taken in Sonia last year. Don't want. Jewelry? The ones he gave you? Don't want. That bag? The one he gave for your birthday? Don't want. Lily looked at me, you don't want anything? I only want my own things. I opened the bookcase, took out my books one by one. 100 Years of Solitude, Fortress Besieged, Love in the Time of Cholera. All ones I like. Mark never read books. He said reading wastes time, better to scroll short videos. I put the books into the cardboard box, and opened the bottom drawer again. The tea set was still there. It was given by my mom, saying to learn health preservation. I had always been reluctant to use it. I carefully wrapped the tea set and put it into the box. 3 hours. I packed all my things, 2 suitcases, 1 cardboard box. Not much. 2 years of cohabitation, I only had this much. Let's go. I put the keys on the coffee table. Lily looked at me, not leaving a note or something? No need. I pulled the suitcase to the door. Turned back to look at this house I lived in for 2 years. Living room, dining room, bedroom, kitchen. Every corner had my memories. But they were just memories now. I opened the door and walked out. No turning back. On the 3rd day after moving things, Mark found me. It was downstairs at the company. Nina. I was about to hail a cab back to Lily's, heard this voice, my steps paused. He stood beside me, in suit and leather shoes, hair combed neatly. Looked no different from usual. You blocked me. He said. Not a question, a statement. Yes. Why? I looked at him, didn't speak. Just because I said breakup? He frowned. Nina, are you sick? You said it 7 times. What? 3 years, you said breakup 7 times. I said, the first time, March 2022. Second time, June 2022. Third time, November 2022. He interrupted me. Why do you remember these? Because each time I remember clearly. He was stunned. Each time you said it, I would cry. I continued. First time, I cried all night. Second time, I called more than a dozen times. Third time, I waited at your company entrance for 3 hours. That was before. The 7th time. I looked at him. You said, break up then, do you think I don't dare to say? He opened his mouth but said nothing. You asked me when I really left. I said, this time. His face changed. Nina, listen to me. No need. I turned and walked toward the taxi stopped by the road. Nina. He shouted behind. I didn't turn back. Do you think you can find anything better without me? I stopped. You're 27. His voice carried a bit of malice. Do you think how much time you have left? I turned around, looking at him. He stood there, suit straight, shoes shiny. Arrogant, certain, thinking I would go back. Mark. I said, you treat breakup as a game, I treat leaving as the end. I opened the car door and sat in. To the west of the city. I said to the driver. The car started, I looked in the rearview mirror. He was still standing there, expression a bit stiff. I withdrew my gaze, looking out the window. The street lamps lit up one by one, like illuminating the path ahead for me. On the 7th day after the breakup, I found a new house. 1 bedroom 1 living room, 45 square meters, in the north of the city. Close to the company, 15 minutes walk. Rent $3,200, cheaper than at Mark's. Lily helped me move in, looking at the empty room said, are you sure you want to live alone? Sure. Won't it be too lonely? I like being alone. She glanced at me, you've changed. Really? Before, you were most afraid of being alone. She said, you said you hate empty rooms, hate eating alone, hate waking up at night with no one beside. I smiled, that was before. Now? Now I think being alone is pretty good. I opened the suitcase, hung the clothes one by one into the wardrobe. Lily leaned on the doorframe watching me. Does he still look for you? Yes. What does he say? Changed several numbers to call, had friends add me on Facebook, blocked me at the company once. What did you do? Didn't answer, didn't add, saw him and walked away. Lily was silent for a while. Do you really not regret? I hung the last piece of clothing, turned to look at her. Lily, you know, these 7 days, I slept particularly well. She was stunned. Before with him, I couldn't sleep soundly every day. I said, always felt unsure when he would say breakup again. Every argument, I was afraid. Not afraid of breakup, afraid of him saying those two words. Because I knew, after he said it, I would cry again, beg again, forgive him again. Cycle repeats. 3 years, always like this. I sat on the bed, looking out the window. These 7 days, I didn't cry once. I slept deeply, when waking up no panic, no first thought to check if he messaged. I can eat what I want, watch what I want, sleep when I want. I turned to look at Lily. You ask if I regret? I only regret not leaving earlier. Lily looked at me, eyes a bit red. Nina. Yes? You deserve better. I know. I smiled, so I left. That night, I made the first meal alone in the new house. Scrambled eggs with tomatoes, with a bowl of white rice. Not a big meal, but I ate heartily. After dinner, I washed the dishes, wiped the table, sat by the window looking at the night view. The north of the city at night is quiet. In the distance, several high buildings with lights, like lighthouses in the dark. The phone rang, a Facebook message. It was from Mark using his friend's account. Nina, Mark really misses you. He knows he was wrong. Give him a chance, okay? I looked for 3 seconds, clicked delete. Then blocked that account too. From now on, everything related to him has nothing to do with me. On the 15th day after the breakup, Mark's mom came. It was downstairs at my new home. I came back from work, saw her standing at the unit entrance. Nina. She called me. I stopped. 3 years of dating, I saw her no more than 10 times. Each meeting, she picked on me. Disliked my low education, poor family background, average looks. Auntie. I nodded, something? What's with you and Mark? Broke up. Broke up? She frowned, why break up? He proposed it. He said he didn't. Her voice rose, he said you were unreasonable, he just said it in anger, and you moved out. I looked at her, didn't speak. Nina, do you know how good my son's conditions are? She stepped forward, monthly salary 15,000, has car and house, handsome, how many girls line up to marry him? Why do you treat him like this? Why? I laughed. 3 years, he said break up 7 times. I said, each time after saying, I had to cry and beg him. That was your own willingness. Yes. I nodded, before it was my willingness. Now, I'm unwilling. She was stunned. Auntie, your son's conditions are very good. I looked at her, but he has a problem, likes to use breakup to threaten. What's that? Men saying angry words is normal. Normal? I interrupted her, Auntie, you think it's normal, I don't. I don't want to spend a lifetime with someone who says breakup at every turn. Every argument I was on tenterhooks, not knowing when he would say those 2 words again. This isn't love, it's torment. Her face changed. Do you have someone outside? I didn't answer. Definitely. She suddenly raised her volume, you kind of woman, I knew you're not good. Auntie. I looked at her, you can curse me, but I won't go back. I don't owe your son anything. 3 years, I've paid enough. Now, I want to live for myself. I turned and walked into the unit door. Nina. Don't regret. She shouted behind, without my son, what good can you find? I didn't turn back. The elevator door closed behind. I leaned on the elevator wall, took a deep breath. Hands a bit shaking, heart beating fast. But I know, I did right. On the 20th day after the breakup, Mark blocked me downstairs at the company. Holding a bouquet of roses, red and glaring. Nina. I glanced at him, didn't stop. Nina. He chased up, blocked in front, do you hate me this much? I don't hate you. Then why ignore me? Because no need. He was stunned. Nina, I know I was wrong. He handed the roses to me. I won't say breakup anymore, okay? I looked at the roses, didn't reach out. Mark, do you know where you went wrong? I shouldn't say breakup. No. I shook my head. You were wrong in thinking I don't dare to leave. His expression stiffened. 3 years, you said breakup 7 times. I said, each time, you thought I wouldn't really leave. Because I never left before. You took my love for granted, my concessions as weakness. You thought I couldn't leave you, so you could be reckless. That's your biggest mistake. He opened his mouth, wanted to say something. Mark, you didn't really want to break up. I continued, you just wanted to see me cry, see me beg, prove how much I love you. You treated breakup as a game, as a threat, as a means to control me. But you forgot one thing. I looked into his eyes. Games played too much will end. His face completely changed. Nina. Don't look for me anymore. I bypassed him, walked forward. Nina. He shouted behind, you're just leaving like this? I apologized, what more do you want? I stopped, turned back to look at him. You think one apology is enough? 3 years, 7 breakups, countless arguments, countless tears. You think when I was wrong can erase it? He was stunned. Mark, breakup was what you said. I said, I'm just fulfilling it. I turned, continued walking. Nina. Nina, stop. I didn't turn back. The shouts behind grew fainter, finally disappeared in the wind. In the first month after the breakup, I received a Facebook from a stranger. It was Mark's friend, I met once, called Alex. Nina, can we chat? I wanted to delete directly, but thought, still replied, something? Mark's state these days is bad. None of my business. He really knows wrong. I looked at this line, laughed. Alex, I ask you a question. What? If a girl says break up every argument, what would you think? He didn't reply. I continued typing, you'd think she's willful, doesn't cherish the relationship, right? Then why when it's a guy, it becomes angry words, young, immature? He really just said angry words. 7 times. I interrupted him, 3 years, 7 times. You call this angry words? He was silent. Alex, you're his friend, normal to speak for him. I said, but you can't help him, because the problem isn't me. The problem is he treats breakup as a weapon, my love as weakness. I don't owe him anything. I just don't want to play this game anymore. After sending, I blocked him. That night, I worked overtime late. On the way home, I passed a milk tea shop, bought a cup of hot cocoa. Before Mark didn't let me drink milk tea, said too much sugar, bad for health. Now, I drink what I want. I held the hot cocoa, walking home. Street lamps on, warm yellow light on the ground. Couples passed by, holding hands, smiling and talking. I glanced, no envy. Being alone is good too. At least no more on tenterhooks, no more afraid of those 2 words. I took a sip of hot cocoa, continued walking. On the 45th day after the breakup, I met Mark's mom downstairs at the company. 2nd time. Nina. She blocked in front, you must give me an explanation. Colleagues around looked over. I took a deep breath, tried to keep my voice calm. Auntie, what is it? What have you done to my son? Her voice sharp, he drinks every day, doesn't work properly, the whole person is decadent. His decadence has nothing to do with me. How not? It's because you broke up, he became like this. I looked at her, didn't speak. You a girl, how so heartless? She said, he apologized to you, what more do you want? Auntie, I ask you a question. What? If a guy, 3 years dating, said break up 7 times, do you think such a person is worth entrusting life to? She was stunned. That's angry words. Angry words? I laughed, Auntie, do you know how I lived these 3 years? Each time he said breakup, I cried for days. Every argument, I was scared to death, not knowing when he would say those two words again. I carefully pleased him, afraid to make him unhappy, afraid he doesn't want me. Do you think this is love? She opened her mouth, said nothing. Your son's conditions are good. I continued, monthly salary 15,000, has car house, handsome. But he has a problem, likes to threaten with breakup. You say it's angry words, young, immature. But auntie, think in my shoes, if I said break up every argument, what would you say about me? You'd say I'm willful, don't cherish the relationship. Right? Her face changed. Then why when it's your son, it becomes angry words? You. Auntie, no need to defend your son. I looked at her, he's 29, long adult, should be responsible for his words and actions. I don't owe him anything. I just don't want to endure anymore. After saying, I bypassed her, continued walking. Nina. Stop. I didn't turn back. You kind of woman will regret sooner or later. I stopped, turned. Auntie, you're wrong. I looked at her. What I regret is not leaving earlier. In the 3rd month after the breakup, I met Mark at a friend's wedding. Coincidentally, he was the groom's friend, I was the bride's colleague. He had lost weight. Standing in the crowd, suit a bit loose, blue marks under eyes, like hadn't slept well for long. When seeing me, he was stunned. I didn't hide, nor approach. Just held the wine glass, chatted with people nearby. Nina. He still came over. I turned, looked at him. Hello. Are you okay? Pretty good. He looked at me, complex expression. You've changed. Really? Before you didn't wear makeup. Before you said makeup wastes time. He was stunned. You today, very pretty. Thank you. People around looked at us. Mark lowered his head, silent for a while. Nina, can we talk aside? I glanced at him, nodded. We walked to the terrace, away from the crowd. Night wind a bit cool, blowing people awake. Nina, I know I did wrong before. He spoke, voice a bit hoarse, I shouldn't say breakup at every turn. I didn't speak. These 3 months, I thought a lot. He continued, I know wrong, really know wrong. Can you give me another chance? I looked at him. 3 months ago, this man said to me break up then, think I don't dare. 3 months later, this man says, give me another chance. Mark. I said. Yes? You know, after breakup I've been thinking a question. What? Why did I endure 3 years? He was stunned. First time you said breakup, I should have left. I said, but I didn't. Because I love you, reluctant, thought you just said in anger. I forgave you time after time, gave chances time after time. But you? You thought I couldn't leave, don't dare leave, can be reckless. You took my love as weakness, concessions as easy to bully. His face changed. Nina. Mark, I don't hate you. I interrupted, really don't. I just don't want to love you anymore. I looked into his eyes. You ask if I can give you a chance? My answer is, no. It's not that I can't leave you, I was reluctant for these 3 years. But now, I don't even want the 3 years. His eyes reddened. Nina. Don't say. I turned, walked back. After 2 steps, I stopped, turned to look at him. Right, one thing I want to say to you. What? Next girl, don't threaten with breakup again. Not everyone will give you an 8th chance. I turned, walked back to the crowd. No sound behind. No turning back. In the 6th month after the breakup, I got promoted. Operations supervisor to operations director, salary from 12,000 to 18,000. Lily treated me to dinner to celebrate. Director Nina, congrats. She raised the glass. I smiled and clinked. Seriously, this half year you changed so much. She said, not just promotion, whole person state different. Really? Before always worried look, now. She thought, now you smile. I took a sip of wine, didn't speak. Him? Lily asked, still look for you? No more. Completely gave up? Probably. She nodded, serves him right. I smiled. After dinner, I walked home alone. 6 months. Over 180 days. I rarely think of Mark now. Occasionally recall, but not sad. Like long ago matter, no relation to current me. I looked up at the sky. Clear day, can see stars. Before with Mark, I never looked up at the sky. Because always worrying, worry if he would say break up again, worry I did wrong again. Now, I can look up anytime. Sky big, stars bright. Alone, also good. In the 10th month after the breakup, I met someone at a cafe. Introduced by new colleague, called Evan, product manager. First meeting, he was 5 minutes late. Entering, he panted, full of sweat. Sorry, traffic jam. I looked at his disheveled look, couldn't help laughing. No problem. He sat down, drank water, eased. Can I explain? No need. No, I'm really not unpunctual. He said seriously, today because temporary company meeting, thought quick end, but. Really no need. I interrupted, late 5 minutes, not big deal. He stunned, then laughed. You're really nice. I didn't speak. That day we chatted a lot. About work, hobbies, favorite movies, and books. When speaking, he looked at my eyes, seriously listened to every word. Have you read 100 Years of Solitude? I asked. Yes. What do you think? Honestly? Yes. Read 3 times, first didn't understand, second somewhat, third. How? Still didn't. I laughed. But. He turned, I think not understanding is okay, good books are like that, new feelings each time. I looked at him. Different from Mark. Mark said reading wastes time. This person says not understanding okay. What are you laughing? He asked. Nothing. Laughing at me? No. You clearly are. I laugh you tell truth. He stunned, then laughed too. That day parting, he asked for my Facebook. Next time eat together? Yes. Weekend? Good. He smiled happily, like a child. I watched his back disappear in the crowd, also smiled. This half year, always alone. Not because don't want love, because don't want to settle. I know what kind of person I deserve, know what kind not worth. This time, I'll take it slow. No rush, no settling. 1 year after breakup. I sat in my newly bought small apartment, looking at the night view outside. Bought myself, down payment 300,000, monthly 4,500. Not big, 60 SQM, but mine. Coffee table has a cup of hot tea, brewed with the set mom gave. Phone rang, Evan's message. What doing? Drinking tea. Alone? Alone. I come accompany? No need, I like being alone. Okay. See tomorrow? See tomorrow. I put down phone, picked up teacup, took a sip. Outside window city lights bright, like stars fallen to earth. 1 year. I walked out of that relationship, already 1 year. This year, promoted, bought house, met new person. Days much better than before. Few days ago, Lily told me, Mark changed several girlfriends, none over 3 months. Reason similar, says breakup at every turn. Serves him right. Lily said. I didn't speak. Not don't want to comment, no need. He is he, I am I. Our lives, no more intersection. I opened moments, scrolled to bottom. Still one photo with him, posted 3 years ago. First date, hope future days all have you. I looked 3 seconds, clicked delete. Future days, don't need you. Phone rang again, Evan. Tomorrow where eat? You decide. Anything. Don't say anything. Then you decide. You this person. What? Nothing. Good night. Good night. I put down phone, smiled. Evan different from Mark. When arguing, he says let's calm down, but I don't want breakup. When angry, I'm angry now, but I still like you. He never says breakup. Not once. I leaned on sofa, looking at stars outside. Someone asked me, regret leaving so decisively? My answer is, no regret. I regret not leaving earlier. 3 years, I learned one thing: love isn't settling, isn't enduring, isn't afraid of losing. Love is two people getting better together, growing together, facing future together. Not one threatening, one enduring. Wind outside blew in, with night coolness. I pulled the blanket, continued looking outside. City big, lights bright. Future long, worth looking forward. Evan sent a message, thinking what? I replied, thinking future. Future how? Future will be good. Of course good. He sent a smiley, with me. I looked at the message, laughed. Some people teach you what not worth, also a growth. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for teaching me what kind of person not worth. Also thank you for letting me know, I deserve better. Lights outside flickering, like celebrating my new life. I picked up teacup, toasted to outside. To past, to present, to future. To myself.